name is Erin Carranza, and I am the founder of Transformation Through Reunification. I am in Lake Arrowhead. We've been in a blizzard, in a pretty serious storm for the last 2 weeks. It's been storming. I would say it's been about a month, but really a big blizzard in the past 2 weeks. On average, Lake Arrowhead gets about 30 inches a year. And in this one blizzard, we got 189 inches. And there was one day that we got 28 inches in 24 hours. I didn't know it was as crazy as it was because I was at home, I was working. I got up in the morning, I made my coffee, and I jumped on my computer and started working. And then I was like, oh, I need to change the laundry. It's snowing a little bit, so I put on my jacket, I opened up the door, and I was like, oh. It was just like this. It was like a giant, when you're looking at like a giant wave coming down on you. It was unbelievable. I could not believe how much snow had piled up. My car was like in a snowball and you couldn't even see cars. It was almost like apocalyptic. And I wasn't prepared for it. I knew it was going to snow, but I didn't know it was going to snow because I was prepared for, a day or two. I was not prepared for a disaster. I have a terminally ill son, and I had to leave the mountain I had to go down the mountain to get his medication. He needed blood thinners that they didn't have at the pharmacy up here. They were doing police escorts up and down. And I said, okay, cool. Mom's going to go. I'm going to get your medicine. I'm going to get some more supplies. I'll be back in, 3 hours. So I went down so I wouldn't be gone that long. And I started to come back and I got in line and they stopped doing the police escorts. And I said, my son is ill and he's at home. I need to get home. Oh, wait till tomorrow at 5 a.m. So I slept on the mountain. I hadn't talked to my son. And the next day it was the same thing. And I still hadn't talked to my son. So I called 911. I called the fire department. I called Caltrans. I called the media. I went and I got on got on a couple of newscasts and news stations in the morning because I hadn't spoken to my son in 2 days. I slept in my car 2 nights, so I was there 3 days. I was going to when I saw my opportunity, they wouldn't let me walk up. And it was only 5 miles. And I said, I could do this in the snow for my kid, not a big deal. If I have to walk, I'll walk. They wouldn't let me walk. So I just waited for my chance. And once I got that opportunity, I just blew past the police barricade and got home. Once I got home and got my son's medicine, I started helping my neighbors that live down the road where there's actually neighbors dig out. We were doing, helping people get out of their houses, bringing groceries to people that couldn't get out of their houses. I was dropping bags of groceries down where people's front door are, but you're looking down into them and they can't get out because it's just a wall of snow. And then it started turning into ice. Homes that have been caved in just from the weight of the snow. We had a whole grocery store topple. It's been here since I think it was 1954 or 1950, and now it's completely destroyed. The whole roof came in. There's people stuck. There's gas meters exploding. I live in Southern California. I live like basically LA County and San Bernardino County. I drive to work in LA County. So we're right next to the ocean, you could say. But the fact that we're digging out 10 feet of snow and we have to dig out our gas meters and roofs are falling in, 13 people have passed away. And it's mind-boggling. There was no communication from our officials, and it was very scary. We still had some spots where we were able to get internet, but if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't know where food banks were. They're not picking up trash right now, so you have to find a place to take your trash or it builds up in your house. And if it wasn't for the Nextdoor app, I wouldn't know where to go or how to help my neighbors or how to help myself. I would have to walk to the grocery store because we couldn't get our cars out. So I was walking 2 miles uphill in the snowstorm to get groceries for us and then for a couple of people around the corner. But we really had to come together in a way that I wouldn't have imagined because of the lack of communication from our officials. The electricity would come on and it would go off, but it was scary when the power would go out because it was so cold. And we have heated blankets and stuff, but they only work when the heater's on. And then my house caught on fire, and the fire department was like, during the blizzard, I guess the firebox is warped, and that's why the embers shot out of the screen. So, but yeah, the fire department said, sorry, even if your house was fully ablaze, we couldn't get to you. Thankfully, my son was quick with the fire extinguisher, and he went into superhero mode. But if I didn't have him, I would have died in my house. I'm surprised I didn't die of smoke inhalation. It was scary, and it was in the middle, like the craziest part of the storm. There was no fire department presence. There was no police department presence. There was none of that. It's really amazing what people do for and with each other when need be. And it's really sad what the government doesn't do when need be. Everyone's pretty angry actually because they opened up the highways to non-residents right now, and people are literally still stuck inside their homes, and you're letting people up to go skiing and playing in the snow when there's huge snow plows going by. There's nowhere to park up here. So you're adding extra tension and extra stress to an already stressed situation. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, was there was no communication with our officials. We got a lot of negative attitudes and a lot of, I understand that you're grumpy and I know it's cold and I know that you're out here where I'm sleeping in my car too. You don't need to be a jerk or rude. And everybody's scared, and you took this job and this is what you're supposed to be doing, is informing and serving and protecting, but not making people feel like crap for asking when's the road's going to open up. People were tired of it. They were tired of the cold, tired of sitting at, they're worried about their family. I talked to a man who was holding the insulin for his wife, who needed her insulin, and they weren't letting him up. When you are not being communicative with people who are scared, that's a disaster waiting to happen on top of a disaster. I don't think anybody was ready for the sheer amount of snow that came down as fast as it did. I am not used to living in this kind of environment, this climate. I'm not used to snow. I grew up in Pomona, so the last time we had snow was when I was 6 years old in 1986. So it's kind of a very learning curve. I've never dug so much snow in my entire life. I'm out there 5-6 hours every day digging to make sure that there's no avalanches or there's no mudslides into my house or into my car, or keeping the driveway clean so if there's an emergency I can get out. I didn't see any relief coming from that declaration from our governor. I haven't seen FEMA. I haven't seen anybody. I'm telling you guys, the community is digging itself out. The fire department has been really good, but honestly, that's the only government entity that I've seen is the fire department. And of course, the Caltrans workers that are clearing the streets. There's no centralized alert system where you can send out a massive text message to everybody. That would be really cool if they had that for massive snowstorms, or I know in tornadoes you'll hear an alarm, but nobody was prepared for this amount of snow. I guess it hadn't snowed like this in over 30 years here. Nobody was ready for it.